Alrighty, hello everyone, happy Friday, or perhaps in certain parts of the world, happy Saturday. But either way, happy to have you here, and happy to be here. So, I hope this finds you all doing well. Let's see here, I see from Rustic Rails I've already earned a scree! But hopefully that's a good scree. I don't know if there's a bad scree. There's a Godzilla screonk. That's how they actually wrote his roar in comics back in my day. Screonk. But either way, I digress, because I like to. I hope everyone is doing well, and I want to give some shout-outs to all the good folks out there. I see Deaton Cox, Prince Apollo, Trinary and Enderpup, Little Heart Raccoon, Gojlan 91 and Prince Apollo, Komodo Steel, and let's see here, Elsing Ghost 1. You're over on my YouTube instead of the usual Twitch. And yet you're also on Twitch. Oh, clearly we have an interdimensional being on our case. Cherry Fluff Belly over on Twitch and Seth Moss as well. Good to see you both. And hello, Pokemon Fire Eevee, Jude 3300, M488 Thunderbird. I saw the Inquisitor had shown up. Let's see here. Get down the list. Shiroverse Spidey Boy. And the aforementioned Rustic Rails. Champ to Stay. Creolus, Magical Dude, and Nexus Galaxy. There was Inquisitor 721? Yes, I believe that's the case. Rustic, I appreciate you tuning in even at work, but don't worry if you can't. Oh, and Flitter Chris. Hello! It's good to see you. I, folks, am good, but I am tired. I don't know why. There's a universal question that I don't believe will ever be answered. Why is it that holiday weeks are more exhausting than their longer counterparts? I just don't know, but I feel it. Good gravy this week has run roughshod over me. So tonight is as much about just unwinding as it is, trying to do yet more work on top of work, because I can say that's just not as much fun. Let's see here. Got just checking out what folks are saying in the chat. Gojala 91, you were an interdimensional being before you took an arrow to the knee? Oh, and Alina Sakura, thank you for subscribing. I'm glad you enjoy my reviews and appreciate you being here. Oh, and I see the Phantom Master, Rosefire, and Riverdale. Oh, and now Trinary's over on Twitch as well as on here. You all are going all interdimensional on me. It's very hard. Very hard to keep track of things. I don't understand your weird transversing ways. I stick to one dimension and try to stick with it. But yes, Nexus Galaxy, I do have a lot of horses. So, here is my conundrum. My general idea, is that I want to talk about the G5 designs, but I want to do so in the context of a fashion show. Y'all might, it's like my stream 2 weeks ago, where I was trying to work on my fabulous outfit. And I do mean fabulous. By the way, I've had great success with that. However, the amount of peacock feather vectors involved really slows down my computer. I'm afraid it would actually crash the stream. Rodan, all ponies are horses, but not all horses are ponies. So, I'm working on trying to build up an audience for this fashion show. And let's see here. Where was the Let's Get Fashionable? Yes, here we are. Simple thought is, take this out. There we go. Rarity stage as generously provided by a member of the fandom. All I gotta do is shrink things down a little because I want the cast to be unveiled behind this curtain. Have it rise up. But that means I need ponies filling in the gaps and looking at that stage. And funny enough, while I built up quite the library of front-facing ponies, as evidenced here, I do not have them looking behind. So that's what I'm going to focus a lot of my efforts towards for at least an hour. Inquisitor, I don't know how to upgrade my brain. I feel like it involves things I can't endorse on the interwebs. Let's see here. Although I do like Rodan's comment, these ponies are an army even Warhammer 40k's Tyranids would be afraid of. For the record, Tyranids are a world-devouring race, literal. They actually strip a planet clean of every ounce of biological nutrient, including individuals. But even they would shy away from this adorableness. And Trinair, you're already jumping into the generosity, harumph. Let's see here. Now, I see a few more people have joined in. I see Preston Cox, Ven Pai, Kevin, Prism Shard, Nomo Ruiz Gallardo. Much appreciated for that pronunciation, always. And, well, so on and so forth. But I also am mindful that I want to honor my Patreon supporters. So, for at least a little bit, I'm going to work on this here Sonic-inspired OC. Got some feedback from the person, the owner, and it really likes how it looks, but I am not done yet, because while I've given some highlights to the head and the red body, there's still some stuff we can do. Sonic has ever been one to have, well, even though he's got a simple palette, there's a lot of shading involved. Anyway, but let's also get some music going here. There we go. Let me know if the music's too loud or drowning me out. I will do my best. Actually, Chris has the right of it. Holiday weeks are so exhausting because people are more stressed. It's that classic, oh crud, I forgot to do X, Y, or Z, now I have to rush to do it. And thus I can't really resent anyone for... hang on, I need to qualify that. I can resent you if you're being cruel towards the people you're asking to help you with the problem. At the same time, I don't resent the idea that, stuff happens, we wish we could be on top of everything all the time perfectly, but sadly that's not the case. All I ask, folks, is that you be respectful to the people to whom you're asking for help. Because if nothing else, that you'll find that'll actually increase their willingness to help you. And I'm sure anyone who has worked customer service knows what I'm talking about. That's right. Alright, Champ saying music's good for them. Trinary's finding it good. Would I prank Rarity, Preston? Probably not. See, she is not the kind to get hyper-violent. She's more the kind to catch someone up unintentionally in violence. Or in a dramatic meltdown. So you don't go pranking Rarity casually. I would at least get Pinkie Pie as a consultant. Now, there was also a question earlier about would I... let's see here. What would I do if Christine the Red 1980 Plymouth Fury? I don't know what that is, so I can't answer. I'm out of my mind. Anywho, moving on. Trinair describes the Tyranid hive much more succinctly. They're space bugs. But then again, maybe that's doing a disservice. You see, bugs are, no matter how we feel about them, part of the ecosystem. Tyranids wipe out the ecosystem. They are unnatural in that. Nature is about growth. Tyranids are about stagnation, despite the fact that they are themselves hyper-evolving. But again, I digress. Although, funny enough, talking about bugs brings us to a question from Goju Lion. Speaking of Rodan, not the person in the chat, but still, which designs of Rodan would I consider my favorite? It's kind of weird. I don't recall a strong difference in Rodan designs. How to put it? Rodan always seems pretty consistent in his looks to me. Granted, the most recent Godzilla King of the Monsters, which featured Rodan, that had its own distinct look, but it wasn't as good in my eyes. I don't think anything will quite top the original Rodan. Because that one, even though, you know, it's out-of-date effects, the first time it hatches and starts eating what were the main threat at that point. Sorry for spoilers, but it's been a while. It was strangely frightening. An interesting escalation, so I mostly remember that Rodan above all others. If you're asking what sticks out in my memory, it's that Rodan, which I find quite terrifying. Also, I'll be honest, there is something about, even when they're not, the practical effects don't necessarily stand the test of time, but still the image of those big bugs is a little unnerving. Again, I guess the thing with giant monsters isn't all that different from the Tyranids. They represent a shift in the biology, or no, in the ecosystem. A world that, how shall I put it? It's a world that revolves around them, and therefore it has a very big difference. Oddly enough, that's probably the only good thing I can say about the Godzilla animated anime movies. The first trilogy. I can't speak to much else. Oh, Drinking Buddy, welcome. Now you're supporting me on Patreon? I have to double check. I don't know if I got the notification. But I'm grateful. Many thanks. Oh, Rosefire, you're on YouTube and Twitch. See, I can't keep up with any of you. Can't keep up with a whole lot of you youngins. Get off my lawn and stick to YouTube or Twitter. Twitch. I'm that old. Oh, Katrina. Katrina Reptis. I appreciate you asking what I have planned for the weekend, guys. Oh, okay. I need to be a little forthright. I try not to mix my online life and my personal life. I find it's good to keep a distinction. But sometimes one can affect the other. There are some good things happening. I'm going to hopefully drive my parents out to the airport so they can embark on a trip. And a fully enjoyable one. That's my primary hope, even though we are always aware of human malware and its impact on the world. It is also a weekend where I will be sharing dinner with friends, one of whom is going in for a procedure on Monday, and I will be helping, get her there. And I want her to have the most fun with friends, but I also am aware before this happens, there's high anticipation. So I'm just going to try and be there for my friend as best I can. And also a chance to have, hopefully, lunch with yet another friend. So, a lot of friends. Folks, one of the things about my history is that I used to have a work social life that was incredibly unbalanced. I'd basically just go to work and be so exhausted I wouldn't have time to do anything else. And all my friends were from high school and college were now either out of state or out of contact. I had nothing, and it was a horrible feeling. I've worked very hard to find a better balance between work and life. So that's why I'm pleased that this weekend will feature a lot. But on Labor Day, I learned that a young man who I had known since he was a baby died of a stroke. And that was very hard news. And harder still is that much of his family have passed on, and those that stay I'm not in contact with. So I don't know how to properly offer my condolences. So, it's been a week of hard news and high work demand. So forgive me if I'm a little out of it or just ineffective at communicating. I'm doing my best here, but like I say, it's all about trying to regain a sense of balance and perhaps unwind. So here I am. That's me being heavy. Now, Preston Cox, what would you do? What would I look like as Emperor Palpatine? I thought what you were asking, why do I look like Emperor Palpatine? Which, I beg your pardon. I admit I'm no spring chicken, but I don't think I have that many wrinkles. If I did, I'd be heavy on the robe. And you know what? Honestly, I picture a dark robe and just my beak sticking out from under it. I think that would be funnier. Oh, Chris, what are you doing donating? Chris, you're all right, friend. You donated chocolates to me. Remember? Remember? Oh, Triner, I should also say this wonderful chocolate you gave me at Everfree. I have I nibbled away little squares each night and I completed. It was delicious. Now I'm a little sad. I'm like, oh, chocolate. But then my health side is like, no, stop it, you. Cease and desist. And furthermore, shut up. But, Rustic, I'm sorry, I have not yet had a chance to get Big Boy for 4014. Midnight Mangle, I appreciate you swinging by to say hi, and appreciate it, but don't worry if you can't stick around. The stream will always be there in the playlist if you want to see what all was going on. What all craziness do I get up into? It would also help if I made my mask actually mask. There we go. Where's that blur I was working on? Well, it didn't take. I'm reminded that, strangely, OBS will capture the main window of Illustrator, but not the pop-up windows upon I'm working. Very strange to me. Quite strange. That's quite. So if it seems like nothing's happening, I might be futzing with something that isn't appearing on screen, harumph. Well, drinking buddy, milk chocolate is my true weakness. I don't know why. Dark chocolate, I've always found it too bitter. A phrase I never thought I would use in describing chocolate. But here we are. So, but milk chocolate, which lets you let it melt to the top of your mouth and it sort of creates this coating. I find it delightful. Or, hey, mix a little dark chocolate with vanilla and it takes some of the bitter out of it. And yet, I'll let you all in on a little secret. True to form, dark chocolate is, if you're going with a chocolate, dark chocolate is actually the least bad chocolate to have. So if you're ever like, well, I want to cheat a little, but I also want to be conscious, everything in moderation, dark chocolate might be the way to go. So, how can I say, in this case, my palate works against me. Preston Cox, what do you mean you're at soup? Let's see. Gradient button. Where's the gradient? Oh, there it is. Okay. Moving you up to the colors. Because that's where it belongs. It's a gradient. It's about the transition, the blending, the harmonization. There we go. Rosefire shares my love of milk chocolate. Now, drinking. What are you doing? Plotting? Okay, one, you're plotting with Flitter, Chris, but you're also announcing that you're plotting with Chris. I don't think that's the most effective strategy. Besides, I'll tell Sweetie Bloom. Don't think I won't, because I will. Also, a shout out to Sweetie Bloom. She is doing more training for her new job, and I wish her all the success and joy. Yeet. In fact, I'll have to see about how I can maybe commemorate the event and further embarrass or frustrate her. The war of gifts, in a good way, can continue. I'm worried I'm overdoing it with these gloves. But oh well. A teacher of mine once said it was always easier to remove than add in later. And there's a lot of truth in that. So let's go with what we got. And if I have to take some stuff out, it's not the end of the Western world. Oh, just a collapse. Just a collapse. I always love, don't know if you all are as familiar with Neebs Gaming, my favorite gaming channel. During a song, they talk about a clapping section, and they say, hey, give us the claps! I don't think you know what that means. That is actually the conversation they have. Alrighty. Seth Moss wondering, have I seen the show Philly Fantasia? I have, but only a few episodes, and through the generosity of, how shall I put it? Generosity of online fan subbers, because I do not speak Italian. I find it kind of weird that they never stick the English version. Now, truth be told, there are characters I like, but I have a problem with Rose, the supposedly lead character. She had a very poor introduction in my eyes, and it's very hard to recover. How should I put it? She seems more judgmental of others, but doesn't own up to her own role. I'm especially thinking of an episode where she unintentionally starts a lie that blossoms to include the whole school, but she doesn't take responsibility for it. In fact, she's trying to convince another friend who has benefited slightly more from it to own up. It's like, no, you helped start this. You can't tell a friend to take the rap and you not be willing to put forth as well. Now, in that same episode, the character Zach really impressed me. He was probably the only one being proactive, and therefore he quickly became my favorite character. So I will say it seems less imaginative than Friendship is Magic. And the villain, there is a recurring but depowered villain. He doesn't really impress me. It's clear he's there to suffer rather than to be a menace. Perhaps that changes in later episodes. I haven't seen it yet. Now let's see here. Sherry Flopbelly, you had a question earlier. Do I know DM Pawn 3000? Wait, that's the lightning list. Let's see here. Sherry, you sent me a birthday video from 2020 in the drawing. Well, I enjoyed your drawing video very much and appreciate the gift, so thank you. Forgive me, like I say, my brain ain't firing on all cylinders right now. I mean, yes, I'm coloring based on Sonic Adventure more than anything. One, I can't get this Sonic level of Quill strands. That's more a CG thing. I worry that would make the design look a little too busy. So I guess I really am relying on Sonic Adventure here, which was probably the last Sonic game where I was like really determined to play and see through to its conclusion. That's not saying other games are inherently bad, but it was harder to sustain my interest. Maybe because I was just getting older. But also I just like, you know what it is? For those who remember the intro of Sonic Adventure, you see Chaos's form. Final form, in the intro. And I want to know what that monster is. It was, I think, a perfect teaser to put in the intro to the game to get you hooked and see what is this thing. Oops, that didn't work. Can I not draw inside this unless it's closed? Curses, I'm selecting everything but what I want to draw in. There we go. The idea here is that by drawing inside a path, it becomes its own clipping mask. And so anything outside the boundaries is hidden. It's very helpful. Let's see here. Oh, they're all gonna collab with Sweetie Chris. Oh, don't forget, I'll get to be a part of Chris's Chillin' Chat later on this month, so we can have words then. Meh. Let's see here. Noah Harris, my favorite Hercules moment. Well, I'll tell you true. I grew up watching Hercules: The Legendary Journeys. And so there is quite the mythology. I mean, the 12 labors, which relearning about recently, I found out that they were supposed to only be 10, but technicalities. Oh, you killed the Hydra, but you had help. Don't count. Doesn't count. It's like, you gotta be kidding me here. Now, funny enough, my favorite moment in Hercules: The Legendary Journeys, which is still sort of what I think of, he is fighting, is it Echidna, the mother of all monsters, the literal mother of all monsters. And she is thrashing at him, but she accidentally hits and kills her human conspirator. She looks at Hercules, she's like, look what you made me do! Hercules just sort of shrugs at her and says, you're asking me to apologize? This is a guy who tried to kill him, so, you know, I can't really fault him on that score. But, but if we're sticking to the actual Hercules myth, what's probably... Okay, I know it sounds funny, but cleaning out the stables. I mean, these were stables that had not been cleaned in centuries. It's the ultimate pigsty. I mean, you know, take the worst mess you've ever pictured in your life and double it. And then you've got at least a tenth of how bad this place was supposed to be. So Hercules, this is the thing. Hercules usually is an idiot. He's depicted as not being very bright or aware. However, a bit like Son Goku, his wit and innovation come when challenged with a task. He's not great at day-to-day life, but once you put a challenge before him, he's surprisingly innovative. So thinking to use a river instead of trying to wade through all that filth, I think is pretty smart. And a good idea of, approaching a problem from different angles and not being limited to just one approach. I'm sure at one point, well, it's mythology, so I can't be sure of anything, but I wouldn't be surprised if at one point he genuinely considered going and trying to do this by hand, and the stink, he's just like, oh, nope, new plan, okay. There's something been going on the Twitch. For digital code? Cherry Fluff Belly, I have not heard of the 6 fan art channel. Wait, no. Maybe I have. It's the, isn't that the one where you draw one character with 6 different emotions in different panels? I've seen many versions of that. I've never tried it myself. Besides, I have trouble getting just one character down, as evidenced. Let's see here. Preston, I have not played Animal Crossing. When the release weekend came out, I know like folks like Dusty had their own island up and going. But me, I bought Doom. And I was just running all over Mars, beating up demons left and right, thinking, my gosh, the gore on this. Although, honestly, I feel like I should have more resentment towards Doom for what it used to represent. Kind of still does. One of the creators of Doom said in a he's quoted as saying, story in video games is like story in pornography. It's just not needed. And Doom, the original, was basically run in and beat the daylights out of everything. You didn't need to know why you were shooting at everything. You just were. I can't necessarily fault that logic, but as technology has evolved, I believe story is more critical. And oddly enough, Doom and Doom Eternal, while not champions of storytelling necessarily, are much more in-depth in terms of story than previous games. So take from that what you will. I think it's a sign that even Doom has to consider a story in this modern day. Redmond 565. Do you think Annabelle from All Dogs Go to Heaven would get along with Celestia? Annabelle. That was the little girl who could speak to animals and had that really wonderful song, Home to My Heart. I think Celestia would adore her. If anything, heck, having, if you're going to go with a human in Equestria, you might as well go with a human who can match the sweetness of the pony world. Although then, that makes for a pretty boring story if it's just stay with that. Something's got to arise to challenge that. In Annabelle's case... Oh, nope, I'm wrong. It wasn't... I'm thinking of the human, Anna Marie. Oh, that's not fair. Gojalan, thank you for clarifying, but I feel a little cheated. Annabelle and Anna Marie? Of course I'm going to get that mixed up. All right. The angel dog. All right. I said touch that clock and you can never go back. She was a little naive, that angel dog. At the same time, though, I still remember the scream she gave as Charlie was about to wind the watch. She sounded genuinely terrified for him. And I'll tell you true, that nightmare Charlie had where he goes to dog hell, which is not filled with cats, something far more frightening. Like, holy crud. Best scene in the movie for me, but holy crud. Let's see here. Drinking Buddy wonders if I have a favorite Gundam series. A favorite. I admit, Gundam, I've watched many versions of it, but I don't know if I have one that really jumps out. Wing was the one I got introduced on. In fact, while Wing has more than its fair share of problems, sometimes your favorite series is more about what you associate at the time. And in college, I would record Gundam Wing and Gundam Wing The Midnight Run, the uncensored version that aired on Toonami, and I would play it for my friends at the end of the school day, or, whenever our schedules aligned. And so that was just a fun way to connect with people, and was part of my one of my favorite years at that college. So I guess Wing is my favorite for reasons not strictly limited to the story. Now the story, the big thing I always see stir people is if you drew artwork of Relina Peacecraft, because people start arguing over her and her philosophy and her presentation, and rightly so. I mean, I would love if conflict could end in such an absolute way as she supposedly championed, but I don't think that's practical or even possible. Total pacifism? Not possible in my eyes. There'll always have to be a defense force. It's finding that balance between defense and aggression. Oh, hi, Matea B. Let's see here. We're talking about first season. Toonami's nighttime. Oh, Ender, Toonami. Back in my day, Toonami was an afternoon thing. And then there was Toonami the Midnight Run. Or was it Adult Swim at the time? And I think it was Toonami the Midnight Run. So, but in my day and age, Toonami was an afternoon thing. I was there when Moltar was the host, and well, oddly enough, I only saw the tribute to Moltar's voice actor more recently. So let's see here. Heck, I remember when Toonami didn't even have Tom. And there's a question, did they ever... Okay, Moltar they gave a fond farewell. But what about Clyde, the UFO-looking robot that was Moltar's sidekick co-host? It's a part of Toonami history, but never got used. Let's see here. Preston, I would definitely hang with Rainbow Dash. She seems like a cool individual, but I don't know if I could keep up with her energy level. Now, Champ to Stay, wondering if I like summer or winter. I'm going to assume that we're going sort of binary here. In truth, autumn is my favorite, as it's more temperate, it's more at ease, it's hopefully a calmer time. But that's off the table. In that case, I prefer summer. I love the longer, sunnier days. I like that the weather doesn't hinder people. I like that because people are not trapped indoors or forced indoors, the cold and flu season is not as prevalent. Not saying you can't get sick during that season, but still. Nothing like winter and the cold flu season. Ugh. Ugh, I say. Let's see here. Let's see here. I'm just gonna try a little something. Yep. And yep. And yep. Why did that not work? Because I'm still drawing on top of thing. Or drawing inside. There we go. Let's see here. Chris is wondering, did I see the Celestia and Sombra version? I'm sorry, Chris, I don't know what version you're talking about. Is it music or is it a comic, an art piece? I do not know. Let's see here. But in the meantime, Cherry Flopelli, if you have to consider anything green great, would I prefer broccoli, asparagus, or artichoke? I will go with asparagus. It has just the right... Honestly, yeah, okay, I'm still a bit of a baby in that most greens I'm like, ew. But asparagus can be prepared to be more firm, or it can be very limp, easygoing, and it can be flavored in a variety of ways. Honestly, you can truly apply that to all of them. But I find broccoli, limp broccoli, I find disgusting. If it's been steamed or is really mushy, no. Artichoke, especially artichoke hearts, I just never got into. Let's see here. Rose, if you need to vent some frustration, go ahead and vent. We all need to unload at some point. Although, I will caution, be aware, one of the unfortunate things about the internet is that once it's out there, there's no taking it back. So, while venting, I find it's best to not name names. Because, well, honestly, the point of venting is to talk about your feelings. You don't need to give the people who upset you free advertising. You know? Alright, that's coming along. We're getting there. Ah, would I ship Celestia and Sombra? Oh, pardon me one sec. I've been instructed by Chris. Oh no. Oh, Chris, you jumped on the bandwagon. It's the night, airplanes in the night sky shooting stars, but Celestia and Sombra edition. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm burnt out on this meme. I know you meme well, but seriously. Okay, but this ties into would I ship Celestia and Sombra. Not Celestia and the evil King Sombra, who, unfortunately, the more complex Sombra of the MLP comics has been undone by the flamboyant and enjoyable Sombra of the show. But given a choice, I actually prefer the more emotionally complex Sombra. I did like the idea that Celestia would encounter an alternate universe Sombra, a good guy. In fact, like the bestest king ever. And that would lead her, well, down temptation as she's putting romance over the safety of the universe. And here's the thing. In just about any other story, I'd be rooting for her. But because I know the status quo, Celestia's not going to get to keep a boyfriend lest it conflict with the show. There's a tragic element to it all. But I like the idea, and plus King Sombra, the good King Sombra, seemed like a pretty decent guy. Also smart. He's not, he doesn't think, oh, well, it may be... Okay, here, let me add some context to make it a little easier to explain. Recall when Twilight goes to the alternate future of Equestria or the alternate timeline in Equestria where the changelings have won and the resistance is about to be crushed. Twilight encourages Sakura to consider Chrysalis's offer. And in the audience, I'm shouting, Twilight, no, she's not going to keep it. There's even a chance she's going to keep her word. It's a very, very, 1% chance. And Twilight seemed kind of dumb in that moment. I much preferred King Sombra, the good version of the Mirror Universe, saying to an evil Celestia, even if I believed you'd honor a ceasefire, I wouldn't dare let you harass another universe. It's like, dude is smart. He is being smart. Ah, Enderpup, your mom's B-Day is coming up next week. I wish her a very happy birthday. And yes, 2 weeks until G5, which means I really need to get going on this video. Now, shipping T-Rex and Queen Chrysalis, not so much. There's no sense of love there. I mean, usually a similar idea, but those two are so egocentric and unempathetic. I mean, actually, I feel like it would be the worst thing for both of them. T-Rex has a certain vulnerability given he feels betrayed by his brother. And so Chrysalis, who's all about manipulating emotions, I feel like she would do him a lot more harm than good. And then again, I've quoted before at a shipping panel, genuine love can only happen between emotionally healthy, independent individuals. Neither T-Rex nor Chrysalis is emotionally healthy. Hence, they're villains. Alright, a question from Gallant Echo. Do you think the G5 series after the movie will have lower quality 3D, same quality, or 2D like some of the merch is shown? I don't think it'll switch to 2D. I think that would be too great a switch. Honestly, I'm okay if it has slightly less 3D quality as, well, a movie with a movie's budget should be a higher standard. I mean, goodness. Do you know how rare it was for the Transformers series G1 to match the quality of its movie? I think the only time it got that good and that detailed was the episode called The Primitives, which was not a really, well, it was the last appearance for Grimlock. But other than that, it was not a terribly standout episode. So I'm okay if it's slightly lower standard. If it's of equal standing, I worry then that means that they actually lowballed it with the movie, that they actually produced a made-for-TV movie. How to put it? Because this is a movie and an introduction, I want it to be special. I want it to be high quality. And so, but then I shouldn't borrow trouble, because I have no idea. I still don't know what the movie itself will be like. We haven't even seen what the following series will be like. All right, there we go. Let's see here. Rose, your struggle. I understand that people have issues with having to mask up, questioning the mandatory. But one of the important things I want you all to consider is that America is founded on dual ideals. There is the respect and freedom of the individual, but also a respect for the common good. And in my eyes, masking is the common good. It's like you have the freedom of speech. You do not have the freedom, however, to yell fire in the middle of a crowded theater, because that would be a lie. Not only is that a lie, that is intentionally endangering people. I understand the frustration and perhaps the concern, but at the same time, I ask you to bear with it. For the good of your classmates, for yourself, and for your friends, the sooner we get to the other side of all this depends very heavily on people looking out for a common good. Yes, Drinking Buddy has the right of it. As one of the misconceptions I've heard is that the mask is supposed to keep the germs out. It would have to be airtight to do that. And actually, I can show you a little something that might lighten the mood. But the real idea behind masks, as I understand it, is that they catch what you might be putting out. Therefore, wearing a mask is saying to the world, I care about you. I care about your safety. I'm willing to take this on. So I ask everyone to join in that spirit. But let's see if there was this ridiculous thing. Yes, here it is. I will post this into the Illustrator momentarily. Let's see, not the full product apparently, but here we go. There's a picture, but I don't have time to search for it. I'm trying to draw and talk with you wonderful folks. But here, someone tried to pitch this during the start of all this. A personal air system. This is ridiculous. And more than that, one, I have no idea if it's actually even effective. But look at that. That thing, you think wearing a mask is tough? That, to me, screams claustrophobia. Even with a clear face, clear face mask. Someone tried to pitch this, and I really doubt it works. But more than that, it showed two guys wearing these things while having like a business lunch or something, and they looked utterly ridiculous. I still find it humorous, but at the same time a reflection of how desperate we all were to find a solution. Still are. Okay, Little Heart, Little Heart, you don't wear this mask on the moon. Wear a whole spacesuit in that case. There, it's less about germ and more about vacuum. Space is a vacuum. You'd pop or boil. I've heard various horrifying accounts of what happens to a body in a vacuum. In fact, there was a comic where the Kool-Aid Man went to outer space, and more scientifically minded folks commented that in a vacuum and exposed to the environment of space, the Kool-Aid Man would evaporate. There's an image for you. Have fun with that. Let's see here. All right, so now that I've been on my high horse, let's see. Champ, you've been wondering, what's the largest crowd I've done for any of my videos? I believe the largest crowd would be the line of ponies that I often show during character celebration videos. But usually they're all lined up and staring face forward. So that's been the largest, but also a relatively simple one. I think it was Twilight's character appreciation where I had the most diversity, as I had them, an entire crowd, both looking up with an expectation, looking up with frustration, and looking up in celebration. And maybe some other Asians, but I don't know. To clarify that I said Asian, not Asian. My pronunciation is horrible. Come over. One of these days, bang, zoom, to the moon. Anywho. Shiny Jubilee, the Kool-Aid Man is the pitcher? But then doesn't, well, technically I'm a pitcher from my own blood. Again, picture that image, why don't you? But I don't know. I mean, technically, I guess he's a pitcher, but without anything filling him. Is he really the Kool-Aid Man? Oh, Prince Apollo, what fictional weapon would I love to own? Okay, I'll be honest, a lightsaber. It's like, no contest. Lightsaber is just so cool. Make all the music, make a genuine lightsaber dance video, probably lose a limb or two in the process. Oh, Drinking Buddy. Yes, Drinking Buddy saw X-Arms. Very foolishly followed my advice and watched it. And now it's scarred for life because it is an anime so bad, it's fascinating, but only once. There is, in my eyes, there's no reason to continue afterwards. And I found some scans of the manga upon which it's based. It's your usual TNA manga. There's any quote plot is subservient to the next fan service shot. So, yeah, honestly, I consider the whole thing a dud. Red Gnome, I will always make it a creepypasta. I'll find a way. Trinary, no, I am not a high horse. I am a horse's rump. I am a horse's patoot. And I reinforce that every day. Like this music. Rosefire, my favorite character in My Hero Academia. Well, it varies. I mean, I definitely like Deku, as I think he's a very, well, likable main character. But let's say it's someone can't choose like the main character. After all, a supporting cast is vital. You know what? I actually like oh gosh, but here I am forgetting names again. He's the sound mic superhero. The guy who serves as a great announcer. And is very musically themed, but also a bit... I think he has some surprising deep moments as well. Present Mike. Thank you, Red Gnome. And Enderpup. Let's see here. Oh, okay, the appropriately named Space Fan, 839. When exposed to the vacuum of space, you pop, boil, and freeze all at the same time. No, thank you. I'd rather have my character floating inexplicably through space than actually be scientifically accurate in that case. Egads. It's quite terrifying. All right, I think for now we will wish this Sonic-inspired OC adieu for a little bit longer. How do I like my French fries? Crisp with maybe a little bit of seasoning and a healthy amount of ketchup just in case. How did I put it? There is this great place, the New York Deli, and I'm in the Mideast. Midwest. Oh, God. Why did I say that? No, I'm in the Midwest. So you got New York on one end of the country, I'm on the other end, but there's this New York Deli, and they make, like, the best French fries. So that, just the right amount of seasoning. Alrighty. Let's see here. Now, I'm going to show you all a little something. By the way, this is going to get incredibly juvenile, so be ready to set your faces to giggle. Let's see here. Here we are. This is my library of references for female characters. I got another one for stallions. Now, going down the line, you might see I've done a little bit of work getting what I consider to be the 3/4 turn back. The idea here is that I'll get to show them, like, scaled and on the other side of the stage looking towards it. But it means that I'm going to have to draw a heck of a lot of them, because I have barely any of these poses. So, get your giggles out of the way, folks. Yes, Trinarian, don't call me Shirley. So, let's see here. I also had to gather... Here's the thing that gets me. Basically, it's the same pose. It's one of the advantages of Flash and its easily duplicated assets. But the mains, how the mains look from that turn position, that's the question. That's the reason to look for online references, like you do. So, let's see here. I believe this is Twinkle Shine. And let's see here. I sincerely hope image boards prove a very odd resource for finding a reference on this. Don't want to even get into the search terms. But anyway, point is, they provide a resource so I have at least an idea on how I can modify. Let me see, I need a unicorn. Hello. Oh gosh, what was her name? It's not Amethyst Star, she's got the dolphins. Katrina, I don't think I've ever played Space Invader. Wait, Space Invaders. Gotta be clear with my terms here. There's a movie that I find a hilarious part of my childhood called Spaced Invaders. It is the tale of Martians who hear a broadcast of War of the Worlds and on Halloween and think it's a documentary or a live event. So they go to aid the invasion and are very, very surprised. But Space Invaders, the video game, I have seen people play it in other pop culture. And I've read Ready Player One. Given everything people said about the movie, I was like, you know what? It's not going to compare to the book in my eyes, so I didn't really invest my energy. That's one of the hardest things. Once you've read the book, I feel like the movie will almost never match. The one possible exception being Lord of the Rings. Not The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings. Sea Swirl. Thank you, Trinary. All right, Cherry Fluff, good to see you. Have a good evening. Now, Twinkle Shine, you got the curly Q mane. Very difficult. But I have my ways. Oh, yes, I have my ways. And that way is called the With Tool. The With Tool. With it, I have the power to change the size of a stroke. Let's see here. Oh, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Rodan. I have not seen the whole movie. I have seen, well, I think I saw a death battle based on it. Or was it way back when Chad Rocco was doing stuff? It's in, well, okay, clowns. Several of my friends are legit afraid of clowns. And, you know, exaggerated proportions, get up in your face, get all up in my grill. Ergo, I can't fault anyone for being afraid of clowns. I understand. Really, well, like anything, it depends on the clown. So I haven't seen it. Honestly, there's a whole lot of killer, dangerous movies I just never saw. I'm not as big a horror fan. Kind of a baby when it comes to it. Let's see here. Favorite. Wait, Prince, didn't you ask earlier about any fictional weapon? Well, and I said, well, obviously lightsaber. I mean, I'm being quite obvious with that. But okay, let's take it off the field for a minute. What's a fictional weapon that I would wield? And you mentioned the hand cannon Ace of Spades, which is a really good hand cannon. Though I'll see your Ace of Spades and raise you a Hawk Moon. Another hand cannon that is very, very good. Very effective. I still use it. Michael Bullington. I've seen a good chunk of Pony Life, but I don't recall an episode called Lollipop. In fact, I'm actually a little afraid of that title. So, I don't know what happens in it. Pony Life was an interesting but ultimately uninvolving presentation. It showed, I guess if it did anything, it showed how you can have an alternate take on the main characters. Seth, I have not noticed that I tend to say in my eyes. I suppose it... Oh, Lord, is that my version of saying, well, this is just my opinion? And honestly, I've rolled my eyes when people say that. It's like, yes, I know it's your opinion. You just said it. That's like your opinion, man. But it's true, I do likely say that a lot. I see what you did there. Okay, so now we've got Zippos. There we go. So we just move that on up here. And we enlarge. Ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. Now, one of the benefits of doing this, I realize this looks like a time sink, and it is. But now, once I have these, I have them for good. I can use them in other projects. So it's an investment of time now. versus investing time later. If anything, I really wish I had started doing this earlier in the fandom, but I had no idea I'd have such a need. Here we are. Oh, buddy, you broke your brush. I'm sorry. It's always hard when you lose a reliable tool, especially in art. Wait, you're talking about a hairbrush. Okay, well, then I just resent the hell out of you now. Cry me a river, at least you have hair to brush. You know how many years it's been since I needed a comb? Actually, I suppose that I should say that's... how should I put it? Personal grooming is a little bit easier when you have less hair to take care of. Yeah, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. No, I tell you it's true. They say, oh, only take like 5 minutes to shower. Yeah, nuts to you. I get hypnotized by that torrent. NOL, what do you mean you just draw? There's nothing just drawing. I mean, it's the act of creation. It's something that not everyone can do. So never sell yourself short in saying you just draw. You draw, you create. Something to be proud of. Yee. Trinary, do not buy a waxing kit. I've never tried it, but the screams I have heard from public accounts... Yeah, no. No, nothing is worth that pain. Though I will share with you all a tale. A tale about my noggin. Early on, when I was coming to terms with the fact I had gone bald. Or am going. At least I'm getting the Picard look. That's also my story. I went to one of those hair transplant places, and I learned a few things I didn't know. One, they can only transplant the follicles on your head. No other part of the body will suffice. So that was a bit weird to learn. Followed by, so basically they would use a robot arm to drill micro holes in my scalp, lifting the follicles and transplanting them up top. That sounds like a bad science fiction. Attack the hair follicle machine. You know, it just scares the living bejesus out of everyone it comes in contact with. And I'm just like, I realized, you know what? I'll just get a hat. Hat seems easier than what they're describing. Let's see here. So, you know, vanity, it's really, ultimately, I think it comes down to just accepting change. Speaking of change, this one's going to be a pretty easy one. After all, Lemon Hearts and Twinkle Shine are the exact same model, just with a few different colors. Kind of feel like I feel like I'm cheating, but you know what? I'll take it. Pardon me, wet in the whistle. A Cenobite torture device. Possibly. Now, I don't mean to belittle anyone who chooses to go and do this transplant. It didn't sound like the thing for me. It may be for other people. To each their own choice. But perhaps there was a very bad sales pitch. To describe it in technically accurate terms, but not necessarily confidence-building terms. I find that in many medical professions, the fact that you have a doctor who has great technical knowledge of a field may suffer from a terrible bedside manner. In which case, I fully encourage them to have a good counterbalance on hand. And no, I'm not volunteering. I would never be suited to the medical industry. Oh, there's a duel breaking out between Kamodra and Inquisitor. Oh, I get an F? But Inquisitor, do you have any Fs to give? Ender, if you're sleepy, well, I hope... Well, okay, I've been told... Someone once said listening to my voice was like listening to a dead rock. And I read that statement. It was, of course, on the YouTube comments. And I thought, as opposed to a live rock? That's about the long and the short of it, really. But if I'm making you sleepy, I don't mean to, but you can always sign off and get some rest. Oh, now I'm being told... yes, well, I see Chris's airlines. Ah, there we go. Egads. Little Heart, you continue to impress me with this wood-burning technique. Let's see here. There you go. There we go. I'll just show these off real quick because I like sharing a medium with which I'm not often familiar. Here we go, everyone. This is Little Heart's most recent creations. Are very nice. Very, very nice. I especially like the detail on the wax on the candle because I could see a swirling pattern in the negative space. So it's quite wonderful. Duel. You know, I didn't follow up, Rose. What is the duel going on in the chat right now? Because I know Inquisitor... Oh, he started it. Oh, I do still have the new soundboard. In fact, Champ, that is what you're hearing. It's just that with the music playing, I feel less inclined to create conflicting sounds. Plus, I find the sound effects are best when there's someone to react to them, like, ah, oh, arr. Plus, apparently on my own soundboard. Here, 1 and 2. And 1, 2, 3. Oh, Ranch Hog, if you want to cook me, you have to catch me first. Drinking Buddy, I've been told I have a great face for radio, too. Oh, now if too late, I see a slight flaw here. Let's just extend this so there's no gap. You know, I would use that line, that joke. The only time that joke never flew, and this was an event in and of itself. One summer, high school, I was working temp jobs, and one temp job involved going to a French cyclist agency. And the lady was very much from France. She had a very thick accent and a perception. So when I talk about the compliment in my voice and been told I have a face for radio, she just said I wouldn't know anything about that and continued on. Let's see here. Do I ship Fluttercord? You know, normally I'm all about the shipping. I like a good ship. But with Fluttercord, it's a bit different because I like kind of the purity of just two friends who deeply care for one another. It doesn't need to be more than that. And while, hey, I'm not gonna say, no, don't ship this is wrong. I'm gonna say it's not the ship to which I immediately jump. If anything, you know, I was kind of fascinated by the idea of what would Discord do if Fluttershy suddenly had a special sun pony. Would he like abduct them to conduct an interview, make sure you're good enough for her? Would he have to learn that her loving one pony doesn't mean that she loves him less? Fluttercup. I'm getting all sorts of Flutter pronunciations. Apparently I'm shipping her with corn or corn on the cob. Oh, Rodan 8. Okay, the only thing with me and Angel Bunny would be me, Angel, and an oven. I can't guarantee who would be getting cooked, but there would be cooking. Actually, given that Angel, like, tried to murder Rainbow Dash, I'm pretty sure he's decided. I'm surprised Rainbow never attempted retaliation for that event. I mean, to quote Meatwad, "You killed me. I ain't gonna forget that." Oh, welcome, Haas 00312. Thank you for following. If I were the Roadrunner, who would be chasing me? Okay. Someone who thinks themselves a genius, but falls victim. You know, anyone I could describe on that in those terms on the internet is usually someone I wouldn't want to give free advertising anyway. Who would be my Wile E. Coyote? Probably, ironically, the Storm King. He would be the closest to Wile E. Coyote. Bipedal, predatory, and thinks he's all that, but he's not. So yeah, let's go with the Storm King. Well, no, I wouldn't disrespect Firebrand like that. He is an intelligent guy. And he would know after the first acne test to not buy from them again. That is perhaps the greatest flaw of the Coyote. He never learned to stop using that product. Probably like really cheap Amazon shipping or something like that. And I may be a shipper, but I don't go for the cheap shipping. Which reminds me, I should be expecting a package. I need to check on that. I can't say I've heard, Champ, I can't say I've heard many, well, let's see. I don't know if I've heard very many fan villain songs. I remember when there was a comic where Discord sang his version of Oogie Boogie, and with Twilight in the role of Santa Claus, and that was pretty well done. Though it wasn't quite musical, but it was still very well thought out lyrics. Also, I've just learned from Chris, Haas, it may be a bot. And if so, well, we'll deal with it. Though, it's always a bit sorry when it's just a bot, not a person. I do like the pepper. Let's see here. Yep. You know, I find it funny. I looked for references of, I think her name is Blossomforth. Never saw a picture where she was turned away from the camera. But then, lo and behold, I spy, with my little eye, a recolor. was like, hey, that works. Let's see here. Wolfie the Fox Wolf. Will I like the MLP New Gen? I certainly want to. Oh dear. I never go into something wanting to hate it. Though granted, there'll be times where I'll go into something and just be like, okay, I'll experience this. I'm not expecting great things, but I don't want to hate it. And worst case, I'm pleasantly surprised. It's very rare that something is so bad I genuinely regret seeing it. Because usually, I just stop. I can't recall I've ever had to leave a theater because it was so bad. But I have recall a few home movie rentals where we just stopped and popped the video out, and that was that. Two off the top of my head were Bad Boys 2, which I was watching with my dad, and, well, that was that. And the other was Death to Smoochie, which I was seeing with college friends. And watching Robin Williams and everyone just running around and being awful, I was like, no, we all agreed this was bad. We couldn't get into the humor. Oh, Snow Motorcycle, good to see you. I see a Power Ranger lightning bolt. Yes, I agree with you, Snowy. Power Rangers are cool. They're a lot of fun. And, okay, could someone clue me in, please? On Twitter, I saw people asking, are you excited for the return of this big bad? With a photo. I don't want to give it away. But I was like, wait, I'm sorry, what? What? Can someone clue me in here? Now let's see here. Favorite Power Ranger will always be Tommy, the Green Ranger. Later the White Ranger. But the Green Ranger was, well, a game changer. I can do that now. Game changer. So, yes, I will definitely say Tommy is my fave. And I especially like that even in later seasons, they would reference his troubled beginning with the Rangers. But not, he would never, like, dwell or mope. He just recognized it was part of his history and moved forward. In some ways, he was the opposite of Starlight Glimmer for a time. For a time. Now, let's see here. Yes, Rustic, I do use the references as a base, and I try to build the characters with easy modification in mind. So if I need to draw a character pointing, all I have to do is rotate, perhaps skew, shear tool, and tighten up the lines. It's much easier than having to draw the characters over and over ad nauseum. Though admittedly, I've got a bit of the challenge. My hope is that as I get further along, the somewhat recycled use of these character models will actually benefit me. Now this one requires a little bit of modification, because as I've got it, it doesn't cover her full head. So let's just modify a little. And let's move this down a little. There we go. Now we're cooking. And she's got the Applejack freckles. Brony Polka. I have, isn't that a mashup of various Brony songs. Well, or perhaps I'm getting it mixed up with Weird Al's Polka. Let's see here. Green Ranger a day. Is the original? It did. Yes, I have heard that the voice actor for this big bad is, well, sadly no longer with us. So they're recasting the role, and I'm of two minds on that. There are some voices that are just iconic, and no one wants to see them. Any attempt to duplicate is doomed before it starts. At the same time, I do also believe that a character can outlive a certain actor. And if it's done with respect, you can get some very good interpretations of said character. At the same time, you can also have someone just trying, but it's not the same. Doctor Who is a very big example, as there have been multiple doctors over the years, not all of them well received. And then, but then, Robin Williams will always be the genie from Aladdin to me. I haven't seen the live action version. I've heard Will Smith brought his own style to it. I think he was smart to not try to be Robin Williams. But at the same time, I'm sorry, that will always go to Robin Williams. There can be no other in my mind. There we go. And just like that, another pony. Now the Zemea. Let's see. I like to take the profile view in addition because well, it's easier to reference the cutie marks and anything else I might need that's unique, such as the mayor's collar and glasses. But it's all basically the same pose, so there you go. Let's see here. Malik Muhammad, what pony am I making? Well, in truth, I'm making a lot of them. I've got this reference sheet of basic poses, so I'm a little lacking in the 3/4 turned away. So basically, I'm trying to make an alternate version for many a mare. In fact, I was just playing a game of pin the tail on the pony. And because I group them, it stays. Boop, boop, boop. See? Goodbye tail. Goodbye mane. We won't need wings in this case, so adios to those and adios to... See, a very basic but reliable pose. Little Heart, you're trying Terramar. Yeah, I've tried doing a few hippogriff vectors, and they are deceptive in their simplicity. Wow, that stroke is way too thick. It is covering up the whole blessed thing. Synchrony. I have been playing Destiny 2 a lot. It's, how do I put it? It's a low-calorie investment. They have these seasons going on, and I'll credit where it's due. The last several seasons have been very interesting story. Far more than I expect from Destiny, usually. It's something you can turn on put your best effort towards and then turn off. And so when I get home and I just want to do, truth is, usually I play Destiny and I think about something else as I'm playing. But how shall I put it? The thing is, though, I think I get caught up in the FOMO, fear of missing out, with these season passes. They say, "Oh, reach level 100, and then you gotta get to this rank to access this event," which turns out to be so difficult it's not really fun for a. Well, I guess I'm a filthy casual. More than that, however, there are these events, and I can speak to last weekend, where they had the Iron Banner. And Iron Banner, this enhanced version of player versus player, it used to be a lot more fun than it is. So much so that I'm not sure when they roll it out next month, or perhaps even later this month, I might not engage again. It wasn't fun, and the rewards are no longer that rewarding. In fact, they make for very little advancement. Let's see here. Malik, let's see. The most recent expansion was Beyond Light, which... oh, that... If you ever want to see how a new element can utterly destroy what came before, and not like, oh, that was so cool they got destroyed. No, it's like, this is less fun now. How shall I put this? They introduced an ability called Stasis, which can freeze other players. And in player versus player, that's the opposite of fun. It kills momentum. It kills investment, and it just makes you wait, or it shuts down what used to be a reliable event, a reliable attack. And people were furious. I mean, for now, Destiny is trying to tone down the new element they introduced because it's taking the fun. Now, I'll say in when you're just playing against AIs, hey, an AI isn't going to get frustrated with you, so go to town. It's actually a lot of fun to use. But not player versus player. That's a whole different ballgame. But I'm a filthy casual, so even with game breaking, I still get my patoot kicked. Oh, now, Noah. Who would win, Harry Potter or Princess Celestia? There's one thing that has always struck me, and I'm borrowing a little from Death Battle on this. Harry Potter, to use spells, he must use a voice. Celestia, now, you can disrupt her, as we saw with Rarity. If you strike a horn, you disrupt the magic. There was an episode where Sweetie Belle slapped Rarity's horn to end a levitation. But I imagine Celestia, with greater experience and some pretty powerful magic of her own, I think she's actually got the advantage in that fight. Now, I fully expect people to point out that Celestia doesn't get to win fights. And so if we go by the usual show logic of, oh, she's up against X, Y, or Z, she has to lose so that Twilight can save the day. But if this is just Harry versus Celestia, it doesn't even have to be a death battle. She just wants to... Hell, Celestia would do it just to help him learn. Oh, yep, there's a bot going. Ah, well. But either way... Well, I believe that I'm about to be bot assailed. So, I'm uncertain how to shut this down other than to notify Twitch. But either way, hey, If it gets too intrusive, then I will wish everyone a good evening and will enjoy things another week after I do a little searching. But let's not worry. Don't borrow trouble. Now, let's see here. But yes, I think Celestia actually has the advantage in that fight. But there are always factors involved. And honestly, the late great Stan Lee, wow, I really struggled there for a second. The late great Stan Lee had a post on Twitter where he was saying, stop asking me who would win the fight. Whoever wins is who I want to win. But I will add a caveat to the great Stan Lee, which is very audacious of me. But I think what he might not have said in so many words is that if he has a strong understanding of the characters and their strengths, he'll know how to play to those strengths. And if he has a good knowledge of a character's weaknesses, he'll play to those weaknesses. It's not just a case of whoever I want to win wins. It's that I've decided this character needs to win. Now, how am I going to go about it? So, there are many ways I could say Celestia could win, including yanking Harry's wand away, or removing his ability to speak somehow in a non-lethal way, at which point Harry's at a significant disadvantage. But there are many ways Harry could win against Celestia, including unexpected or startling tactics. You know, it's very rare that I see an alternate tail model for when a character's a 3/4 back. So, I guess I feel the need to honor that. Plus, I hate to say it, but sometimes the universe just conspires against Celestia, and I find that frustrating after a while. It's like, I get Twilight and company are the heroines, it's on them, but Celestia can be helping in some other way, some capacity. Well, Synchrony, I have to assume that if you put tape over Harry's mouth, he's going to have the presence of mind to remove it. Honestly, given that Celestia actually understands love and family bonds, I would find it interesting if she found a way to de-escalate a situation. That her greatest strength lies not in being able to defeat someone, but in being able to talk them down. In fact, I'll be honest, I've grown disillusioned with hero versus hero battles. They've had great moments, don't get me wrong, but honestly, I'm more for what brings heroes together. And sure, there might be a misunderstanding, but ultimately, I don't care who would win in a fight. I'd rather know what they're fighting for. I still watch Death Battle, but mostly because I'm curious on how they describe the characters. Plus, hey, Boomstick always ends on a good pun. Or a bad pun, which is also good. So, wow. Okay, looking at this right now, I'm kind of picturing the Discord of Pinkie Pie. Ah. Spacefan 839. Every spell can be cast without speaking, but Harry's not at that level, at least at the time we see him. I'm going with the assumption that this is the Harry we're growing up with. Now, what was it? There was a TV series of Merlin. Just a series of shorts. It talked about the 3 ways of casting. That first way is verbal. Second is simply mental commands. And the third is second is hand gestures. Third is simply mental command. And I found it interesting, Merlin never had the talent to progress beyond the second level of casting. This guy is the greatest wizard in history. But even he had a limit. And I find that interesting, because then he's the greatest wizard, but because he found a way to work within scope rather than pining for what he couldn't do. Life lesson. Gosh, it's been a while since it's been ages since I saw that. I wonder if it's even available. I mean, I'd like to think it's, if nothing else, it's available on YouTube, but there's always things that slip through the cracks. Gone from our memories. Champ, Dummy was his spherical test dummy robot. It didn't strike me as terribly funny. I mean, it takes a certain art to be what we call a sad sack. Someone who's just, they're there to suffer and you kind of have to laugh at their suffering. Ted from Scrubs is a great example. But it takes a special kind, and that existential robot really isn't all that funny to me so far. Then again, it's only had one appearance to my knowledge. Okay, Trinary makes a point of that there's Merlin, Gandalf, Dumbledore, and Granny Weatherwax from Discworld. So there's plenty of contenders for the greatest magician in fiction. But I'm going to put this forth. Merlin was the start that inspired all those others. Or at the very least, he is a culmination of what we base it on. Dumbledore in particular, I think, runs very parallel to Merlin. I mean, Merlin, in his teaching of Arthur, was often, well, throw the kid into water and see if he learns to swim. Not perhaps the most gentle means, but it was what he had. Okay, Triner, you're quoting exactly the scene I think of when I call Ted. Ted, your pen exploded. Oh, puts a hand on his head. He's got ink on it. Oh, it's like, it's not that I hate him. I actually like it when he wins, but I don't feel bad when he's on the suffering block either. Oh. Put on chill tunes from video games since they're safe for use on YouTube. Synchrony, I didn't really know about that. I've been playing it safe just using the YouTube, which I realized just ran out. Oh, champ. Funny enough, Beerus versus Sailor Galaxia is the last death battle I watched. I think I'm behind. So I don't know if Dummy has gotten a better showing or if you grow to enjoy him more with repeated experience. Alrighty, we've only got a little bit of time left. I'm wondering, is there any character, if I focus on them, will I accomplish a great deal more? Let's skip on to Lyra Heartstrings, because I know she and Minuet keep wanting to say, Colgate. Am I dressing up for Halloween? Gosh, Enderpup, I don't even know what I'm going to be doing, what I'll be at Halloween. Last year, there was no Halloween. Sorry, but there wasn't. But, I don't know. I mean, it really depends on what my friends want to do. I did dress as the, oh, this is interesting. The screen flickers when I go between previews on my desktop. Huh. Well, that's vexing. What was I trying to say? I dressed as the Matt Smith doctor for one Halloween. And my friends, they got a photo of me, but they grabbed a plunger from the bathroom and held it nearby as I looked nervously off screen. And mostly I was just thinking, how recently have they used that? Let's see here. Plague Doctor for Halloween. Really, Coryllis. Plague Doctors. Well, I can't fault you on timeliness. Maybe just a little bit too morbid for me at this moment, but I say, one, it's always been a staple and unintentionally creepy. I think because it invokes a bird, and that's not something you associate with humans. So it creates a dissonance just by looking, which makes it an excellent idea for Halloween. And, like I say, topical. Oh, excuse me. Getting dry. I find, just this week, allergies have been going nuts a bushel. Then again, I'm afraid there's also great much smoke in the air from the fires. Oh, little heart, you got to take off? Have a good night. Get a good rest. Seth, you wonder how many years is MLP Seasons 4 to 9? And I'm just going to shuffle and start up some music while I'm at it. But how many years? Now, I figure that seasons 1 to 3, I still hold to my theory that it was 1 year. However, it gets a little harder from then on. I would say no more than 5 years. And I'm just spitballing with that number. But honestly, it could be just like 2 years at the most. Maybe less. Equestria has such an accelerated timetable. For all I know, and heck, that frustratingly vague moon. I know that there's a official definition for a moon in our world, but for all I know, Nightmare Moon was banished 1,000 moons ago, which was really just a week ago last Tuesday. Because ponies get a lot done in a concentrated span of time. Far more than I could ever hope. Now this is getting a little loud in my ears. There we go. Let's see here. The Fat Rat lets you use his music for free as long as you don't plagiarize, Space Fan. I do not know this Fat Rat. I know a Fat Cat, but he was a villain for the Rescue Rangers. He's also made a website where he and indie music artists put their music up for people to listen to. Here's the thing, Space Fan. That one, I applaud their generosity and openness with their creativity. But just because they're okay with it doesn't mean YouTube is. YouTube has this weird thing of enforcing copyright even when it is unwarranted. Case in point, I pay for the music I use in my videos. I have a license with DeWolf Music. But even then, I have to tell YouTube, yeah, I have permission to use this. Oh, holy crud, I'm an idiot. Forgot I'd already drawn this. Okay, well, live and learn. So, just because these folks have made it publicly available, it doesn't mean YouTube might not call down a copyright strike saying, hey, this is from another website. And then you have to go through a big rigmarole. So I'm hesitant. I'll have to look into whether or not people have had a lot of success with Fat Rat and their generosity. Okay, so Chris, I would have to, well, okay, I confess, the Rainbow and the Golden Horseshoe Gals, didn't really enjoy that episode all that much, mostly because it didn't show great things for Applejack or Rainbow. I like Granny Smith and the gals, though. Can't deny that. But it felt like a very artificially constructed conflict. Also, I always wonder, like, does Big Mac... They go with Big Mac every time. Does he just, like, know that they're gonna slip away and take a weekend? And could you imagine if he went for a honeymoon with Sugar Belle in Las Pegasus? Viva Las Pegasus! Granny's Gone What? Was that its talk? Yeah, I think that was the title of the episode. Alright, Enderpup, get a good sleep. And perhaps Thaddeus Risher has the right of it. Time is simply plot convenience. But I don't know, I mean... One thing MLP rarely tried was, like, a big event and getting ready for it. Grand Galloping Gallus, several episodes in anticipation. Payoff was a little less, but hey, it was still fun. What else was, like, Equestria Games? That spanned 2 seasons of prep. And it made for some interesting times. I still think the venue was underutilized, but that doesn't mean that what we got was bad. But, you know, honestly, other than those, I can't recall MLP getting ready for a big event all that often. That's unfortunate. I feel like it's a good way to build on continuity. Elizabeth Snowbell, any episodes I would skip on a rewatch? Non-compete clause. Well, okay, yeah, that's a big one. Mostly because although that is, you get to see the student 6 at their best, but you also see every pony else at their worst. Are there any others? There are ones that I remember being frustrated with them. Ones where I would rather the story have been different in some ways. But to flat out say that I would never watch them again, just out and out skip, I don't know. There aren't a whole lot of MLP episodes that I think would invoke that. It would probably be, well, see it again, and usually, once you know something you don't like is coming, you're braced for it, and you can watch it with a different eye. Yes, I am definitely mentioning eyes a lot more tonight. Let's see here. Spike at your service. Yeah, that one was a stinker. I would watch 246 grade again. Again, it always seems to be that to make the students look good or have a little growth, I don't understand why they would have to make the main 6 bad teachers in the process. If anything, this is a chance to show how much they learn. It's probably the greatest stumbling block of seasons 8 and 9. Let's see, your drinking buddy contests that a moon might not be a year, otherwise sunset traveling through the mirror. Well, okay, drinking buddy, in this case, I look at all that's going on with the mirror. I mean, they say in Legend of Everfree that everything they've dealt with is specifically a year. I'm convinced that the portal to the human world of the Equestria Girls is not just spatial or dimensional, but also time. It's why you can banish the sirens centuries before Twilight's time, and yet from their perspective they may have only just arrived. Therefore, that's how I reconcile how all this is happening, and how Clover the Clever threw the Memory Stone into that dimension, but it was still easily accessible to Wallflower. I mean, if you make the very odd choice to apply real-life logic to this cartoon show, that Memory Stone should be, like, buried under strata and possibly decomposing. No, it's fresh. So, then again, I am sorry we never got a proper conclusion to Equestria Girls. What was it? The winter celebrations piece. It just wasn't the same to me. It wasn't a proper send-off. But hey, you get to see them happy. I don't know of a better note to end on than just to say they're happy. I wish we had such security in our lives. Also, I'm looking at, someone already told me her name and I plumb forgot again. But I don't know why, but I drew the wrong tail. Came in handy for Lyra, but now it's wildly inconsistent. Wildly, I say. It's funny. I remember that this current song was playing at the very start of my stream. We have come full circle. All right. Honestly, I think with the completion of this turn, I know I've only made a small dent in this, but it is a good dent. And I'll keep going. This might be something to work on while I'm waiting on word from my friend on Monday. Oh, yes. The Synchry, I have seen the official look for the founders of Equestria. Some of them I'm a little surprised. I imagine how they act is different than how the main six portrayed them. Mostly I look at Chancellor Puddinghead, who looks far more uptight than Pinky's depiction. But that's neither here nor there. But it's an interesting idea. Oh, Kalisha Anderson, I appreciate the donation. If you click on, there's a Ko-fi link in the upper left corner of the screen. If you go to that link, you can contribute, and I greatly appreciate it. Yes, NOL. I apologize. I don't know how to pronounce the kanji there. Gameloft has put out a screenshot of the original founders of Equestria, a zebra-themed alicorn, and Owie's Odal. Alrighty. Queen Parabola. Nexus, why did they cancel Final Space? Because for some reason, a lot of folks just call it good at the third season. I don't know. 65 is the magic number for syndication, and sometimes that's all a company wants. That was a fear with My Little Pony. But I confess I don't know enough about Final Space to speak for them. Anywho, I'm going to just fade out some of this here music. Alicorn Zebra. Yeah, Alicorn Zebra. Why don't we close this out? I will try to throw this image on there, and you can all... Here we are. This will take just a second. For all who are curious and wondering, I shall do my best to describe. So yes, your screen just flickered. That probably means that I'm previewing. Here we are. So, let's go through this. Let's see here. I forget. Rainbow Dash played this character. Commander Storm. It's right in front of me here. Commander Hurricane. We have Commander Hurricane. Then Princess Platinum, who's got a little bit of Crystal Pony mane, making me wonder if she is an ancestor of the Crystal Ponies. Then Smart Cookie, as depicted by Applejack. The Alicorn-esque, she's Zebra-esque Alicorn, is Queen Parabola, who put secret messages on the back of Star Spiders, apparently. Then we have Chancellor Puddinghead, who looks so uptight, but may still be an eccentric. And let's see here, that's Private Pansy, who bears a similar look to Fluttershy, and this is at least the third look for Clover the Clever. I don't know. Clover the Clever, I'm starting to wonder if he didn't suffer identity theft over the centuries. Anywho. So these are the Game Loft interpretation. I have no reason to question them. But, yeah. That's what they look like. And then there's Zodal. I don't know how old he is. If he's part of this bundle, he may have been there at Equestria's founding too. No wonder he's cranky. That's it. Daring Do was always trespassing on his lawn. The lawn of a cranky older guy. You're Daring Do, get off my lawn. No, Inquisitor, don't be calling heresy. Next thing you know, it's exterminatus on Equestria. I say thee nay. Alrighty. But everyone, I think this is a good point to call it good and to wish you all a wonderful weekend. If you have a chance, just spare a thought for my friend and her procedure on Monday. Spare a thought for folks who are uncertain about the future, of which there are many, including myself. But whatever happens, I have hope for the future, and I wish you all a bright and hopeful future. So be safe and be well. I'm Silver-Quill. Thanks for watching.